out that from the time we assumed office, we made it clear that we would have a deliberate biasness towards the eastern region because the area had been overlooked over time when we were delivering road infrastructure. Amongst the major projects underway currently with regard to road infrastructure is the 30-kilometer of non-motorized transport road that has been completed, the 27 kilometers of new constructed road across the city, and 309 kilometers of existing road network that has been rehabilitated over the past 4 years. Furthermore, a total of 121 kilometers of roads were paved as part of pavement management system, making the movement of our people much more easy. Madam Speaker, a number of catalytic projects have been lined up for implementation in the coming year. These include the doubling of Berry Marais Road. The modeling and planning has been completed in various state organs, and the actual construction will begin in the new financial year of 2020-21. We've also, Madam Speaker, have gone on to introduce a bridge management system, and we have a total of 198 bridges that have been assessed within our city. We took this proactive stance in an effort to mitigate any possible threat in our city. And in this regard, we've identified 12 of the 198 bridges that requires urgent attention, and we've called on the administration to make sure that proper plans are in place to make sure that we deal with these defective bridges. We will, in the new year, start with the rehabilitation of the Gulfspread, a project we aim to implement in different phases. The feasibility study for the widening of Nyoni Park Road has been concluded. A construction will get underway in 2021 financial year. The PWV 15 is expected to be completed in 3 phases over the next decade. This is a 35-kilometer long road, dual carriage. Preliminary design have now been completed, and we are working with the provincial government to ensure that we deal with the Gilolis congestion that is being experienced through this road. The upgrading of N12 Davidson CBD interchange is expected to start soon. Following the resolution of an outstanding matter with Sandral, we think we are ready, Madam Speaker, to go ahead with this particular project. We have a responsibility to provide adequate and sufficient public transport system. In this regard, 4 years ago, we vowed to fast track the completion of the bus rapid transit for ease movement of our people between homes and workplaces. Since the launch of the system, we have moved swiftly to continue accelerating the rolling out of this service. This has resulted in the construction of dedicated lanes from Rabasutu Hall to R25 Zurfontein Interchange. We've purchased additional 40 buses and will be completing the 9 stations by the end of this financial year. We have inspected progress, Madam Speaker. I must say that work is really currently underway. At the present moment, the BRT operate between Tembisa and Isando and Tembisa and OR Tambo International Airport. The extension of the system to OR Tambo resulted in the steady increase of the ridership from an average 11,000 to about 70,000 during this period. We've also extended the service from Tembisa to Bartlett Road in Boksburg due to the need that has been identified in servicing the people that are working in the industrial park around that area. The significant increase in the use of the BRT service demonstrates the hunger of our people to safer, more reliable and affordable public transport system. Efforts are at an advanced stage to ensure that the completion of the Vosloorus as well as the Blugam View taxi rank. Contractors have already been appointed, and these facilities will be completed by the end of this financial year, and they will be open to public as we move forward. It is now a matter of fact, Madam Speaker, that waste removal challenges has been on the rise in the city. In line with the increased number of population, new township establishment, and the immigration, which has seen huge leap in the number of backyard dwellers seeking jobs and economic opportunities within our city. This has put a strain on waste removal efforts, mainly around the collection. This has also resulted in the disruption of services in some parts of the city and recently experienced in Kempton Park, amongst other areas. In response to these challenges, a comprehensive strategy was developed and is being rolled out incrementally to date. This problem has stabilized, and continuously we are monitoring the work to ensure that the problem is dealt with once and for all. A new five-year waste collection contract will soon be advertised with new improved features aimed at increasing our efficiency. The contract will cover 8 broad areas and aimed at improving our service based on recently adopted turnaround strategy. We're further proposing that the introduction of 2-shift system, which will ensure that our city remain clean at all times. Cheers, Madam Speaker. We have remodeled the Clean City project, which is now underway. The program has resulted in the appointment of 1,172 people. These are mainly brigades, supervisors, and customer care coordinators, which will ensure that the environment is clean and is properly looked after within our communities. The program intends to intensify the partnership with communities in keeping their own wards clean. Beneficiaries will not only be engaged in cleaning, but will also be instrumental in promoting education and awareness on issues that are affecting our environment. Our efforts to providing our people with quality recreational facilities while promoting a healthy lifestyle are underway. The city is rolling out multi-purpose ideal parks and maintain the existing parks, which we believe are instrumental in protecting and preserving the nature of our environment. Madam Speaker, I am happy to announce that 4 parks have been constructed and completed in Marais Park, in Boksburg Lake, in Velgedag, and Palm Ridge, amongst others. We continue to pursue our big ideas and focused development agenda. Our quest to establish the world-class Botanical Garden in Ekurhuleni is well underway. Our preliminary design and consultation phase is indicating that it is possible that in Gilolis we could have this kind of project. It is important to understand that the city is pursuing the idea of a botanical garden because it will have a significant benefit for the residents of our city, as well as a positive impact on the environment. Botanical gardens devote their resources to the study and the conservation of the fauna and flora, providing opportunities for learning, research, and overall maintenance of healthy living. The city is also on the verge of pursuing the establishment of the zoo for the recreational, tourism, and educational purposes, amongst others. Madam Speaker, we are proposing 3 private cemeteries to be commercialized through our SCM process. We are further conducting studies for the provision of alternative burial method, which will include but not limited cremation, Madam Speaker. Dr. Chilidzi Rachitanga has argued, and I quote, the racial spatial inequality nexus makes it possible to understand the link between racial exclusion and spatial formation, since this is a major defining characteristics of the legacy of apartheid colonialism in South Africa. It proposes a solution. Its proposed solution is a total national spatial reconstruction to be spanned by creation of many new megacities region that will germinate new economies for new Africa and the rest of the continent. With regards to city planning, noting the above, it's rediscovered. The city of Ekurhuleni has approved the Municipal Spatial Development Framework in 2015 and is in the process of completing the gap analysis that inform the next generation of MSDF, as well as the lower level of regional spatial development framework, from which the reconfiguration of our development patterns, particularly of human settlement, mega projects, and our economy will be anchored. The purpose of this drive is aimed at undermining the apartheid racial development legacy. We have approved the Ekurhuleni Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan, which outlined the sectoral infrastructure need against the aligned financial requirements for long-term infrastructure development in line with the provision of the GDS and MSDF over the next 30 years, to enable more development to take place in places where restrictive of the city has. We are going to unlock 4,900 hectares of land deemed to be dolomitic in Katlehong, Vosloorus, Springs to Duza. We have also employed sinkhole contractors to assist us with the rehabilitation process, and accelerating plans to address the high-risk sinkholes will yield results in previously disadvantaged areas so that we can expand human settlement in those areas. Advanced bulk investment in road, sewer, water pipelines and substation to enable mega projects and strategic urban development that would not be realized in the short term or would have been costly to the private sector. The return on investment on rate of the city is expected to be about 1 billion by 2021 and will by 2021. Through township regularization, we have realized about over 95,000 stands that have enabled development, especially shops for locals, which will soon make available for our residents. The city's future spatial trajectory will ensure that the historic challenges are aligned to the budgeted for in realizing sustainable cities. In real estate, as part of the Rapid Land Release Program, the following projects will be undertaken. There is a capital injection of over 5 billion in the development of the 40 strategic land parcels that are being released. And I must say that 3 of the batches have already been released, and we're inviting private sector to take advantage of these opportunities to make sure that they can deliver on these projects, and we will be outlining them in the next term. 4 public-private partnerships have been approved by National Treasury, and 2 are already being pursued, namely the Germiston Parkgate as well as the Civic Tower. We are going to change this place here where we are, our regional headquarters. In all these projects, 30% of the investment will be contracted to SMEs within the city. Furthermore, it is our efforts to encourage investors to do business with the city. We have resolved to give these investors 24 months rental holiday or incentive as part of our recently approved council policy within the city. Since the dawn of democracy, our government has been hard at work trying to reverse the demonic legacy that our people had to endure. At the center of our intervention has always been the provision of decent livelihood for our people. We continue arguing that housing is not only a basic human right, but the foundation on which human dignity is built. In the past 20 years, we have migrated from just providing a housing unit to human settlement, which is loosely translated means that we are now building communities that have social amenities such as schools, clinics, and so on. The new way of thinking has also seen us rolling out more livable informal settlement with better services and amenities. The city of Ekurhuleni is deeply passionate about resolving housing backlog that have faced us over time. Hence our ambitious targets that we have set for ourselves of building over 100,000 housing units and 59,000 service stands. I must report, Madam Speaker, that 29,405 housing units have been delivered between ourselves and the provincial government. And 17,944 service stands have been delivered. We are now currently busy verifying those units that have been delivered by private developers so that we can also give full account, because we give approvals in that regard. It is our resolve and determination to do our best to realize these targets, Madam Speaker. I must report to Council that 9 mega projects are already underway. We've also added additional 3, namely Brakpan Old Location, SLN Park, and Palmy Fontaine, which will yield a total of additional 18,434 units, taking the total number of the houses that will deliver by the end of the term or just in the new term to about 216,670 units over the period. In actual fact, Madam Speaker, recently we've had a short turning of one of these projects, namely the Tembisa Extension 25 mega projects, that is going to deliver 3,510 units when it complete. We are starting with delivering of over 500 units amongst those, using the alternative build technologies amongst others. Cheers. Madam Speaker, we have since been awarded a level 2 accreditation, which means that we can now build houses as requested by the provincial government. In an effort to realize our priority of providing land distribution, we have released 8,208 title deeds since the beginning of our term of office. We still have an additional 14,833 title deeds which must also be distributed, and we commit to make sure that we deliver them by the end of term. This will require all 224 councillors in their respective wards to work with us to ensure that this project is delivered. We continue to accelerate the proclamation of our black townships to enable our people to enjoy full security of benefit of their properties. Madam Speaker, in the city of Ekurhuleni, our policies are geared towards the development of the most vulnerable in society. This is expressed by our allocation where we direct most of our investment in the infrastructure development. Through our social labor plan, we have developed partnership with AfriSem to construct about 20 houses for people with disability, youth-headed household in Mackenzie. The project has commenced in December and will be handing those houses that are coming from the private sector as part of their contribution in ensuring that we bring about development in our city. On social cluster, in the past, we have taken pride in the increased number of people accessing our healthcare facilities. As a matter of fact, a demonstration of healthy community can only be derived from a decrease in number of people seeking healthcare assistance. It is our resolve as an administration that we need a clear program that will encourage healthy living, notwithstanding the fact that we must forever strive to provide quality healthcare at any given time as the city. In realizing the above, we have continued to provide innovative ways to render primary healthcare to our people. That is why we have recently introduced 11 Pili box at different clinics over and above the 115 chronic medication pickup points that already exist. By the way, the Pili box smart locker facility is the first and only one of its kind in Africa. Amongst the clinics that already have operational facility in the city include Jamestown, Winnie Mandela, Polar Park, Philip Moyo, and Davidson Main Clinic. We have launched an additional 5 Pili box facilities in J. Dumane, Esangweni, Etafeni, and Zagane. There is also a plan to extend them to malls across the city so that our people can be able to access, those who need chronic medication can be able to access these facilities. These interventions have revolutionized the access of medication to over 170,000 patients already, while at the same time reducing the queues that people spend attending clinics. The city has also made tremendous gains in reducing mother-to-child HIV transmission from 0.9% in 2008-2009 financial year to 0.7% this year under review. We remain on course to ensure, and are optimistic that we are going to eliminate this kind of transmission. In this way, we will ensure that our newborn babies have favorable chances of survival. In preparation for the National Health Insurance, we have actively participating in the Ideal Clinic, which is a national project. These clinics are facilities which are good infrastructure with adequate staff, enough medicine and supplies, including good administrative processes. I must report to Council that all our 93 clinics in the city are continuously assessed and have achieved positive outcome in this process. In our effort to access our people in the far-flung area and underdeveloped areas, we have a fleet of about 15 mobile clinics that are spread throughout the city to ensure that primary health care is available to our people around the clock. We've also continued to open about 9 clinics to operate about 24 hours on the 24-hour basis and 18 clinics on Saturdays, and 2 clinics are operating on 12-hour basis, and these numbers will increase as soon as some of the resources are available for us to do so. In a quest to try and push back the frontiers of poverty, over the past 20 years, all administration of the city have demonstrated a commitment to provide relief to the poorest household. This is evident by our commitment to increase the number of deserving applications on our indigent household database as part of our interim poverty alleviation measures. This include providing effective provision of service to communities who are classified as indigent household by utilizing a technology platform that is seamless, integrated, and robust. With the scourge of drug and substance abuse ravaging our communities, the city will continue working with the provincial government and other stakeholders in turning the status quo around. In partnership with Gauteng Provincial Government, we have established 4 rehabilitation centers in Palm Ridge, Dugatole, Alra Park, and Mutsamai Clinic. And these drug centers must be utilized to ensure that we save lives of the youth in particular. Furthermore, we continue giving special attention to early childhood development in our effort to invest in education that will develop these youngsters, which are future leaders of tomorrow. Madam Speaker, we continue to promote our rich heritage. Special attention had to be given to the renaming of street and major roads after the stalwarts of the liberation struggle and other people who are deserving. Indeed, various streets and roads have now been renamed after Mama Winnie, Madikizela Mandela, Amina Kachalia, Thabo Mbeki, George Bizos, Thomas Nkobi, amongst others. We are busy now engaging with the provincial and national government on the renaming of this road, so especially those that fall outside of our authority. To immortalize the legacy of the eminent leaders of the South African people, Oliver Reginald Tambo, who is a free person of the city, the building in which we are hosting this State of the City's address was once known as a Gemistic Civic Center. The precinct, however, of both the legislature and the administrative leg, as well as the executive, is now officially named in honor of our great icon, Oliver Reginald Tambo, in the main. Other monuments that have been renamed include the former Germiston Theatre, which is today bear the name of Dumisani Masilela, an extraordinary young person, son of the soil, an artist, musician, and a talented sportsman whose young life was cut short in a car hijacking incident in Tembisa. The facility has gone on to host a number of shows since it was officially opened. For the first time in history in the city of Ekurhuleni, in July, we are going to host the memorial lecture of the late Dr. Godfrey Piche, a former president of the ANC Youth League and an academic who hails from Davidton. Of more interest to note is that his grave has been nominated to be declared as a heritage site. Turning to sports, heritage and recreation, The city has also made great strides to promote culture of sports in our communities. Some of the key highlights include the Kiddies Olympic, which attract hundreds of children on an annual basis here in Ekurhuleni, and the annual Disc Challenge, which is a game that emanates from the community games that are normally hosted in December this year. We have also invested millions in upgrading various stadiums, and these stadiums are going to be renamed because we continue to produce heroes and heroines in our city. Madam Speaker, with regard to our dams, our firefighting capabilities have been boosted by the delivery of 8 new specialized firefighting rescue and vehicles that were delivered in January 2020. And those of you who attended the parade, you saw them in display because we couldn't drive the cars today as part of the effort of complying with the requirement that has been set by the President. The delivery coincided with the opening of the old Germiston fire station, which has since been turned into a museum. Additionally, the Olisfontein fire station will be operationalized before the end of the year. Furthermore, we have built 9 new fire stations, mainly in previously disadvantaged areas, in order to improve turnaround times to fires and other disasters, especially in our townships. The city continues to build its capability to effectively respond to major fires and disasters in and around the city. In this regard, we've already possesses, amongst others, the high-volume water relay system, which is the first of its kind in the continent. Our training academy in Boksburg is already attracting an interest for our neighboring countries such as Botswana and Namibia, amongst others, to come here for training because our team of dams are excelling. With regard to EMPD, in an effort to fight crime and strengthen the law enforcement in our city, we have embarked on the process of building the capacity of our law enforcement agencies. There are 500 recruits currently in training for the Metropolitan Police. We're also in the process of recruiting an additional 100 Metro Police, bringing the total number of police to about 3,500. You will recall that when we came here, there was only 1,700 metros. We are now moving towards 3,500 metros in the city. We continue to address the need for safer communities through rolling out, amongst others, of new well-equipped metropolis precincts as and when need arises. In this regard, Madam Speaker, we've built 10 new metropolis precincts over the past 20 years to bring our crime-fighting efforts closer to communities. This is a material evidence of our commitment to combat crime in our cities, for we recognize the safety and security are the most basic job of government that we must do. All these efforts will amount to nothing if communities do not join hands with us in fighting the scourge of crimes that have devastating implications for all of us. We believe very strongly that fighting crime requires partnership between police and communities, one that is anchored on our mutual respect and a desire to create mutual beneficial, safe and sustainable living environment. For this reason, I want to urge communities of Ekurhuleni to work closely with the law enforcement agencies in reporting all incidences of crime. Fellow councillors, on the economy, while the agenda has been driving service delivery, the time has come for us to start investing more of our time in developing our capabilities of our human being within the city and to move our country forward. We commit ourselves to addressing the above-mentioned strategic focus by encouraging and implementing human capital development intervention on behalf of community members. The provision of financial assistance is one of many initiatives that the city is implementing to achieve its goal of increasing skills base within the region. Over the past 4 years, we have allocated 400 million rand to bursaries that have benefited 8,189 students in the city. Over 100 million on an annual basis is being invested, and 5 million of that has been allocated to about 19 students who are part of the Breda University International Scholarship Program in the Netherlands. Madam Speaker, I'm happy to announce that an additional 449 local graduates of financial year 2019-20, as well as the graduate that are coming from Breda, will be welcomed by the city as part of the efforts that we have been able to give our support. In the quest to increase the number of students receiving financial assistance to pursue higher education, the Office of the Executive Mayor has launched One Business, One Student campaign. The campaign seeks to encourage the private sector that is doing business with us to get involved in educating children and adopt students with full bursary support for the duration of the course. To date, we have raised about 10 full bursaries through this particular program. And we must take this opportunity to thank those in the private sector who have heeded the call of the Executive Mayor. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate one of the first beneficiaries of this campaign, Queen Mpatlele from Alafang High School in Katlehong, who obtained 7 distinctions, including 92% in physical science and 89% in mathematics. She is now studying medicine at Sifako Makgato University. We wish her the best over the next 6 years. Turning into the OR Tambo University of Science and Technology, Madam Speaker. The apartheid education system failed both the youth and the economy by producing poorly educated graduates, most of whom are unemployed and lack entrepreneurial capacity. This is an enigma between education versus qualification. Research has shown that most graduates only possesses the latter. This failure suggests that we seek an alternative method of education of our youth using global standards underlined by African values. The most reckless oversight at the end of apartheid era was accelerated when we saw majority of South Africans into universities without supplementing their secondary education or adjusting living conditions to bridge the gap between the two. Madam Speaker, qualifications are expensive and speak to the commodification of learning opportunities. In many ways, qualification system objectifies students and produces second-class professionals who hold a qualification that is not relevant, required, or useful skill in the main. In contrast, Madam Speaker, a system aimed at educating and not only qualifying students would focus on holistic development, acknowledge and supplement the imbalances of the past, and inferior secondary grooming is an issue that we are trying to address. We therefore argue, Madam Speaker, that the challenges are immense since correcting the injustices of the past has to start with early childhood development. That said, South Africa has many older learners trapped in the cycle of education poverty through ineffective formative experiences. We must take this opportunity, Madam Speaker, as this council, to thank our President Cyril Ramaphosa, for the bold announcement of the new generation of University of Science and Technology here in Ekurhuleni. We have an opportunity to collectively redress historic and current injustices to enable this generation to be whole and economic, effective citizens in the main. What is now urgent is for us as this council to push for the enactment of this new institution through the Act of Parliament. This should be followed by the engagement with the National Department of Higher Education on the methodology of teaching. What is being proposed, Madam Speaker, is a Swiss dual apprenticeship method, which is greatly form part of the system that we are proposing. The proposal is to divide students' time between the theoretical classrooms learning and the practical professional training at workplaces, not people coming to offices or making tea for people, but to gain practical experiences. This will result in confident and work-ready graduates who are easily assimilated into world of work. If this proposal is accepted by the National Department of Higher Education, it will result in a new way of teaching where a student is educated and graduate with a 4-year degree coupled with a 4-year work experience by the time he leaves school. Madam Speaker, in this regard, I am happy to announce that a comprehensive proposal has been received on the new model and will be handing it over to the Department of Higher Education, together with a feasibility study and the business plan that we have conducted as Council as part and parcel of our contribution into this new University of Science and Technology. Madam Speaker, we've also secured a 43-hectare piece of land located to locate the university from a private developer around the Germiston-Boksburg area, where this university is likely to be located. This land was donated to us for free. With this, we seek to reposition education and training not only in Ekurhuleni, but in South Africa through a well-researched approach. We dare not fail our youth, which constitute our prospective future as a nation. With an investment on land demarcated of about 400 hectares, the city of Ekurhuleni will be home to a Disney Africa, a first of its kind in the soil of Africa. Throughout the continent, there is no such theme or amusement park of magnitude. Currently, Disney network stretches across the first world countries such as Paris, California, Florida, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Tokyo, to mention a few. The city must never stop these ambitious dreams, which are aimed at transforming our area into one of the most exciting cities of the world. When we spoke about the university, we were told we were dreaming. Once again, we dream about Disneyland Africa here in the city of Ekurhuleni. The greatest revolutionary, Thomas Sankara, would not have captured our situation as Africans better than when he said, I quote, It took the madmen of yesterday for us to act with extreme clarity of today. I want to be one of those madmen. We must dare not invent the future, close quote. Indeed, Madam Speaker, we are inventing the future by continuously dreaming for the future. Disney Africa in the city of Ekurhuleni will serve as a world-class entertainment center, drastically increasing tourism domestically, whilst attracting tourists from other African countries and the rest of the world. The city has a capacity to implement a project of this nature, as it will leverage off the existing world-class infrastructure, such as the O.R. Tambo International Airport, the Gautrain, prime residential areas, glitzy entertainment venues, and mega shopping malls and recreational facilities. This will happen in our lifetime, Madam Speaker. In addition to this, to tourism sector, Disney Africa in Ekurhuleni presents several opportunities for the development and enhancement of other priority sectors that will contribute towards South Africa's economy, such as construction, real estate, ICT, creative industries, further creating opportunities amongst many other sectors for our citizens. In 2019, the automotive export manual indicated that automotive sector is regarded as one of the most global of all industries, with value chain spanning multiple countries across the globe. The automotive sector contributes 6.8% towards the country's gross domestic product and continues to reflect the power of combining good industrial policy and foreign investment. It is also the backbone of industrialization that drives South Africa. It is also key in ensuring that we ensure economic growth within our space. Stemming from the automotive sector, the Formula One is one of the most viewed sports across the globe, with approximately 1.77 billion viewers over 185 countries per annum. Out of 21 countries that host the Formula One race across the globe, only British Grand Prix is funded by government. The remaining 20 races are funded through public-private partnership or exclusively through private funding. According to an article that has been published in the Forbes magazine in March 2016, the total construction cost of a standard Formula One racing track is approximately $270 million, taking into consideration an inflation rate over the next 6 years of 6% per annum. The construction cost can cost to about $322 million, which translates to about 5.2 billion rand if you were to use the rand. However, carefully constructed along other sidelines, event opportunities, the construction of Formula One racetrack, and other hosting actually Grand Prix at the city has a potential of injecting over 25 billion rand of the South African revenue in the period, and also creating about 9,000 jobs if created. We are toying with the idea of finding amongst the strategic land parcel, make it available for those who will be ready to build a Formula One track here in Africa. And this is another dream which we believe will be attainable in our lifetime. Furthermore, the nature of this sport calls for technical expertise in the automotive manufacturing and engineering sector. This is perfectly aligned to the design outcome of the Science and Technology University, as it will stimulate the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education, securing employment for its alumni and other graduates. Madam Speaker, an international convention center will be listed among those that have a demand in the city. Addition to the proposed Disney Africa and the Formula One racetrack, the City of Ekurhuleni International Convention Center will enable the city to bid for mega conventional conferences, summit, signature events, creating yet another revenue stream or contribution towards the growth of the economy and the creation of job opportunities within our city. A paper produced by the graduate of the business school in Cape Town in August 2002 gave a projected economic contribution of the Cape Town Convention Center. The study set out the measures of macroeconomic impact of the convention center, as well as identifying industries that could be promoted using the center. The construction of Cape Town Convention Center, hotel and offices, including multiple effect, was projected to add about 1.2 billion of the South African revenue in terms of our GDP over a 2-year period, and create over 4,000 direct jobs and 14,000 jobs. Within the first year of operating in 2003, it was projected to make a direct and indirect contribution of about 709 million towards GDP, and 25 billion in 10 years after its opening in 2012. At the same time, creating a total of about 8,700 sustainable direct jobs and indirect job. This was the situation in Cape Town. And we say in the city, we will attempt all these initiatives to make sure that we make our city better, because we believe it is possible. Honorable councillors, we intend to unlock the development potential of the OR Tambo International Airport and the surrounding areas by increasing the number of aviation-oriented business and commercial services cluster around the airport and along the strategic highway corridor. We continue to roll out the Aerotropolis master plan. In this regard, we have established and tasked the OR Tambo International Airport Infrastructure Task Team to implement the OR Tambo Airport and Aerotropolis master plan as part of our contribution, as you have heard that even the Minister of Finance did announce our work around the master plan. The project currently underway under implementation includes the AXA Western Precinct, which is presently under construction. This is a commercial development situated adjacent to our Tambo Airport. AXA is spending 4.5 billion as we speak in developing phase 1 of the Western Precinct, comprising of 3 to 6 story buildings that they are building at the airport. Additional feasibility study for the Rhodesfield OR Tambo link, a feasibility study has been completed and the project is now at the preliminary design stage, amongst others. We also are busy at the we also are busy at Tambo Springs and Port implementing, and all the statutory approvals and fundings have been granted. The appointment of bidders is now concluded and the bulk infrastructure is already underway. As part of the 2019-2020 financial year, we announced that the development of the investment book for the city, which will combine both public and private sector-driven projects and consolidate incentive for all spheres of government into one comprehensive investment. And I'm happy that we will be adding our own investment as we have demonstrated on the SLP that we will be giving. Amongst key achievements thus far this year is the finalization of bulk contribution policy, the finalization of the development incentive policy, the approval of the investment framework, and the reconstitution of the investment committee. All these interventions will contribute significantly towards the building of local economy that grows in the hands of our people, to ensure that we build a responsive and modern public service that fosters change towards building a better Ekurhuleni. Entrepreneurship has been identified as an important contributor to the economy in terms of employment, growth, innovation, and competitiveness. It is in this context that the Pitching Booster Program will focus on sectors that are labor-intensive and have a potential to scale up and above all align to the city strategies. In the last year's State of the City, we pronounced on the re-engineering of the enterprise development environment in the city in order to stimulate the economy and unlock economic potential for our communities. On the 31st of November last year, Council approved the groundbreaking policy that gave effect to the 120 million Ekurhuleni Community Enterprise Development Fund. And some of you were laughing like this, and it happened right under your nose. And we'll continue to make sure that it is possible. The fund has since attracted over 700 applications under the scheme Panda and 316 applications under Shimilani and applications that we've received. The applications stand a chance of receiving between 50 and 6 million rand as soon as they are evaluated. The funds seek to unlock and open opportunities for non-traditional economic players who in turn will trigger economic activities and enable the economy to become more dynamic, competitive, and inclusive. This will enable the facilitation of job creation in a sustainable manner at a cost-efficient rate to ensure inclusive economic growth. We have successfully made available at least 56 agricultural farms comprising of 2,747 hectares valued at about 120 million for the benefit of emerging farmers. As this stage is currently undergoing the supply chain process, we envisage that these farms will be released before the end of the year to the rightful owners who are going to make sure that the land is productive. We intend giving away all the 190 farms that are owned by government, and we are going to be talking to the national government and provincial government to ensure that they give us necessary support so that farms, implements, seed are made available for our people. In anticipation of the farm release program, we have progressed to rename the Springs Fresh Produce to Ekurhuleni Fresh Produce as per the council approval. and have successfully constructed additional 20,000 square meters of trading facilities to house the fresh produce distribution center. This approach will enable the city to increase revenue and to mainstream both commercial and emerging farmers, both by opening new market opportunities, amongst others. Honorable Speaker, it has been a long 20 years since the birth of Ekurhuleni. It has been a period in which we put a lot of hard work to ensure that we indeed uplift the standard of living for our people, while ensuring that we run a stable and capable administration. Despite many hardships we have had to come across, it gives me a great pleasure to share some of the key highlights over the past 20 years. Amongst these, when we renamed Jan Smart Aerotropolis International Airport, when we established a single city, the city of Ekurhuleni, when we conferred the freedom of the city to both OR Tambo and Adelaide Tambo and Chris Hani, when we established our very own Metropolis and the Academy, amongst others, when we introduced the IRPTN system, when we ensured that all our township had a unified town planning scheme, and when we established 20 customer care centers that were rolled out within the city, when we migrated from provision of houses to establishment of human settlement, when we increased bursaries from 10 million to about 100 million, when we consolidated labor relation policies, when Chris Hani's house was purchased, converted into a museum, when Sam Tuli's grave and Oliver Tambo's grave were declared heritage site, when we introduced anti-fraud hotline, when we introduced my Ekurhuleni service app, amongst others. These are achievements that in the main mark our contribution that we have made as this collective. As we live here today, we are left with just 14 months before the end of our term. This is hardly enough time, but it is time that we have to concretize the plans that we have for the city. Plans whose heart is the commitment to build a local economy that will grow in the hands of the people, and to develop our communities economically, socially, as well as culturally. I cannot overemphasize the importance of employing a great degree of agency in working in doing our work. Madam Speaker, as this administration, we owe our great debt to our coalition partners who have supported and contributed to our work since we assumed office. It is their commitment to the principle of good governance and people-centered service delivery and their maximization of the democratic dividend that have carried us to this point. We are immensely grateful to rigorous support that we have received from Council in our collective bid to fulfill our respective mandate. One of the most important lessons that the coalition government has taught us all is expressed in the words of the brilliant young feminist Jama, who speaking of what it means to wage a non-partisan struggle, and he contended that, I quote, "Being non-partisan does not mean that we denounce our political homes, but rather that we unite behind certain cause despite those differences," close quote. In the city of Ekurhuleni, we have been able to maintain a strong coalition government while others have crumbled, precisely because they are anchored by sentiment, because ours is anchored by sentiment as expressed by Ms. Jama. We are grateful to councillors with whom we have worked together in our city to prioritize livelihood of men and women, a city that is deeply invested in building the responsiveness of modern public service that foster change towards building a better Ekurhuleni. Their selfless dedication to the people of Ekurhuleni is immeasurable. Even today, as we go through these difficult times as council, all of us are here to execute our responsibilities. I would also like to extend our sincere gratitude to the African National Congress caucus and the political leadership of the ruling party in the region for their overall guidance and support, without which much of the achievement would not be able to table today, or it would not have been possible. I wish to take this opportunity to particularly thank my family and my wife, Mercy Nazo Masina, who was sad not to join us because of coronavirus. She would have been here, so that I thank her in person, who continues to be a pillar of my strength in the family and support me in my work. Her strength has carried me under the most difficult circumstances, and I owe her and my children great attitude. I know it's not easy for them. In delivering the State of the City's address, we reflected on our journey of the last 2 decades and our commitment that we're making to ensure that we build a responsive, modern public service that fostered change towards building a better Ekurhuleni. We have been honest about our challenges and humble about our achievement, but we recognize that they made possible not only through efforts of one person, but collective efforts, because we stand on shoulders of giants. In closing, Madam Speaker, I wish to pass the city's sincere condolences to the families of the loved ones of the late Councillor Greg Malebu and other workers of the city who perished during the last year. These men and women dedicated their lives selflessly in serving the people of the city. They were committed to the pursuit of justice, democracy, and realization of better life for all. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Executive Mayor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. In preparation for the debate in terms of the standing orders, page 90, there's an annexure of proportional time allocation for debates. We're gonna break for lunch and then come back at 2 o'clock. It gives parties sufficient time to prepare for the debate. The ANC, in terms of the standing orders, is allocated 29 minutes. Democratic Alliance, 20 minutes. Economic Freedom Fighters, 10 minutes. Patriotic Alliance, 5 minutes. AIC, 5 minutes. IFP, 5 minutes. COPE, 5 minutes. ACDP, 5 minutes. And IRASA, 5 minutes. All in all, when we come back, we're going to take 1 hour, 40 minutes in terms of the debate. Then we close it. We'll have just a body break. Then we come back and focus on the council agenda. At this point in time, let me thank everyone who's present here, and we are adjourning the session. We'll see each other at 2 o'clock. Thank you very much. May I therefore... Oh, okay, yes, yes. Thank you very much. There will be 100 at the banquet hall. There will be 50 at the business lounge, Kotlasi, and then there are preparations next to the lifts, next to the lifts. So there is. It's 50 Kotlasi, it's 100 banquet hall, and the media is going to go to the speaker's lounge. The speech is available at the door. As we walk out, you'll get copies. Thank you very much, honorable councillors, media, and the officials. We adjourn this session. We'll see each other at 2 o'clock. Thank you.